Chinese classical dance group Shen is winning applause from a global audience. But beyond the stage lights, some of the artists' families are facing life-threatening oppression because of their beliefs. Here's the story Shen principal dancer Stephen Wang shared with us.
Stephen Wang was touring the globe with Shen earlier this month when he learned his mother was sentenced to 4 years in prison in China.
After her arrest, the detention center didn't allow visits or notify the family. We had no idea exactly what happened.
Last July, Chinese police arrested his mother Liu in central Hunan Province. That marked the 69-year-old's 11th time in custody after spending 8 years in various detention facilities. All this because of her faith, Falun Gong. Falun Gong is a spiritual belief centered on the moral teachings of truthfulness, compassion, and tolerance. Its followers number in the tens of millions worldwide. After its release to the public in 1992, its popularity soared across China. But years later, the number of Falun Gong practitioners rose to meet the count of the Chinese Communist Party members. The CCP began to see the practice's emphasis on spirituality and free thought as threat to its grip on power. By 1999, it had launched a sweeping persecution campaign against Falun Gong. Numerous practitioners like Liu were jailed, sentenced to labor camps, and even tortured to death. Among them was Wang's father. He died in 2009 after years in a Chinese prison. In 2008, Wang joined the Shen Performing Arts Company in New York. For the past 15 years, he's tried to get his mother out of China and reunite in the U.S. But the regime stripped Liu of her freedom to travel.
My parents weren't able to attend my graduation, my wedding, or witness the birth of their grandson. I have never experienced a complete family where parents and children are reunited.
Wang and his sister turned to the international community for help in rescuing their mother.
Not just my mother, but tens of thousands of people in China are being held for their belief in Falun Gong. I hope the U.S. will take a stand to stop this persecution.
Wang explained that he's chosen to expose the truth and share his story through art.
I am now a dancer in Shen. Shen mission is to revive traditional Chinese culture. Through the performance, I am also telling the audience what is truly happening in China and the lies of the CCP.
Shen has earned worldwide acclaim in hundreds of countries, but is not allowed to perform in mainland China.
The world is at a turning point. That's the word from Japan's foreign minister on Tuesday, as he spoke about his country's 2023 Diplomacy Bluebook. Here's what he said.
Based on the recognition that the world is currently at a turning point in history, this diplomatic blue book provides an overview of the international situation and Japan's diplomatic activities over the past year.
Hayashi said challenges include the increasing frequency of joint military actions from China and Russia around Japan.
We believe we need to keep a watchful eye.
Japan's southernmost island is just several dozen miles away from Taiwan. Given its proximity, Japanese officials are concerned that a war between China and Taiwan could drag Japan into the conflict. China's foreign ministry spokesperson responded to Hayashi's comments on Tuesday, accusing Japan of interfering with China's domestic affairs and saying that its cooperation with Russia does not target a third party and fully complies with international law and practice. Japan is home to the region's most advanced technology and is a top U.S. ally.
Chinese leader Xi Jinping adding fuel to the flame with tensions between China and Taiwan skyrocketing. The Communist Party head is calling on his armed forces to bolster military training tailored toward actual combat. He made the remark during his visit to see Chinese naval troops stationed in southern Guangdong. The area directly faces the South China Sea and isn't far from Taiwan. Both areas would be on the front line in the event of a hot war. Xi Jinping urged troops to deepen military training and preparation and take the Chinese military's modernization to the next level. His inspection comes after China said it suspended its 3-day military drill around Taiwan. The reports say activities are still ongoing. Beijing kicked off the drill after Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen met with House Speaker Kevin McCarthy in California. A previous meeting between Tsai and former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi drew a similar response from China. Last August, Beijing launched military drills around Taiwan to simulate a blockade. How does Beijing see Taiwan? A comment from a Chinese military researcher may shed some light on China's perspective. He described the island, which refuses to bow to Beijing, as a tumor that needs removal.
A person is sick and has a tumor in his body, and we have to operate to remove this tumor.
Retired Marine Colonel Grant Newsham explains why Taiwan is such a thorn in the Chinese regime's side. He said as a healthy democracy of 23 million people, Taiwan's very existence is a threat to Beijing's propaganda.
The Chinese communists argue that, well, Chinese can only be ruled by force. There's no other alternative to rule by the Chinese Communist Party. Well, Taiwan shows otherwise, and it's a 24-hour embarrassment to what the Chinese are saying.
He also explained why it's important for the U.S. to defend Taiwan.
The important thing, as I see it, is really important thing, is look at the blow to American prestige. If Taiwan goes under, if it is allowed to be enslaved. And it shows that the American military, with all its might, couldn't keep Taiwan free. It shows that American economic and political financial power couldn't prevent China from taking Taiwan.
We'll keep you updated as the situation develops across the Taiwan Strait.
Beijing planning to close airspace north of Taiwan, an area that could impact international aviation, especially for neighboring countries like Japan and Korea, as well as the U.S. The statement comes from Taiwan's Defense Ministry Wednesday. The department noted the no-fly zone would fall within its air defense identification zone, about 85 nautical miles north of its shores.
Judging from the public information, it will include missions related to aviation and space, meaning it could be related to anything, to satellites and communication. Whether it is really about those, I believe all departments are making investigations.
A Japanese news agency said the no-fly zone also included part of Japan's exclusive economic zone. Hours later, the island said it had successfully urged China to drastically narrow its plan, shortening the no-fly zone's time frame to about half an hour. That's down from the originally scheduled 3 days. The change will help avoid severe travel disturbances, as happened during Chinese military drills last August. Is the U.S. losing a longtime ally? That's the question after French President Emmanuel Macron's recent comments, saying when it comes to Taiwan, European countries should not, in his words, adapt to the American rhythm or a Chinese overreaction. The U.S. responding. Republican chairman of the House Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party calling Macron's comments embarrassing and disgraceful. The White House, meanwhile, saying on Monday it remains confident in its relationship with France.
We are, again, comfortable and confident in the terrific bilateral relationship we have with France.
He added the two countries are working together on so many different issues, including cooperation in the Asia-Pacific region. The Inter-Parliamentary Alliance on China saying about Macron, "You do not speak for Europe." Taiwan also taking note, a senior official questioning whether France still knew the definition of liberty, equality, fraternity, adding Macron's comments left him puzzled. Macron's comments about Taiwan come on the heels of his recent trip to China, asking Xi Jinping to broker a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine. This comes as China has been staging military exercises around Taiwan over the weekend, following Taiwan President Tsai Ing-wen's return from the United States, where she met House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Taiwan's foreign minister saying to be on alert.
They seem to be trying to get ready to launch a war against Taiwan. But if we look at the UN Charter, the most fundamental tenet in resolving international disputes should be through peaceful means.
The Chinese regime claims democratically governed Taiwan as its own territory. That's despite having never ruled it.